Okay, this is a tip on painting a popcorn ceiling. Uh, First thing is you kind of want to count on two coats because it's better to put on two coats than try to put one coat on thick and get the ceiling really wet. I use a 1 1/4 inch lamb's wool roller. 1 inch is probably okay. 3/4 is getting a little too small to get into all that rough stuff. What you want to do is, I'm using Promar 200 high reflective flat white interior, but any flat white, whatever you want to paint it, ceiling, excuse me, paint is okay. Actually, anything you want to do is okay. But it's better to do a couple of thinner coats than put it on too thick, because the problem with popcorn ceilings is when you get them too wet, the popcorn will come down. I mean, it'll come loose on you. It's a big mess. Better to be safe than sorry. Now, I've done pretty good here, and one coat is actually not looking too bad. What I do is put a few gallons in the bucket, and I will add maybe a third of a gallon of water I've got 3 gallons in there, and I'll add a third of a gallon. That's how I clean out my paint cans, and I just pour it in there and mix it up real good. And I'll add a little bit of Floetrol, which is a good additive that helps your paint flow a little better to get in all those nooks and crannies. But the main thing is, once you have painted an area and it is wet, leave it alone. Do not go out there and try to touch something up, because that popcorn is getting damp and it loosens it up. So you need to let this coat dry completely. Give it 2-3 hours to dry really well before you come back and try to touch up or second coat it. Now I'm going to second coat it and so there is a little spot or two that might have a little, I don't know if you can see it on this camera, but it looks like a little hole, and you just have to kind of get those spots with the second coat, because if I try to get that right now while this ceiling is wet, it's going to pull the whole down. It's going to pull that stuff down. So you will get a few little holes like that where your paint, you didn't get painted. Actually, I probably should have thinned this a wee bit more, really, and put more Floetrol in it. But and there probably are better paints that flow. Promar 200 is not specifically for ceilings, really. So there are ceiling paints that work better. You don't really want to put a sticky. Some paints are kind of sticky, more stickier than others. You don't want that up there because it'll pull on that popcorn. So once it's wet, leave it alone. I can't tell you how important that is. Once you've put some paint up there and it has sat for 5 minutes, leave it alone. Do not paint with your roller or it will pull it down. It's kind of tricky. Don't press too hard. I can't really make a demo because I'm sitting here with one hand holding this camera and the other hand if I were to try to roll, but you just kind of, you want to just kind of go lightly. Don't push too hard. And sometimes it's good to just go one direction because when you start pulling back and forth, that's when it kind of causes troubles. So I'm about to fall, trip over stuff. I got a little hole so I can hit it right quick. Oops, see how it causes more because I'm in that wet paint. So you really got to watch out. You really got to watch out. Anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. And just take your time and don't get greedy. The worst mistake you can make is painting over it after it's already wet. That's when you're going to pull it loose. So just let it sit, let it dry real good. Give it an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. Put your second coat on. Sometimes, like if you go this direction, first coat, you could go that direction, second coat, perpendicular. That's sort of the industry standard, but it's not written in stone, you know. You want a good flat paint that hides roller marks. That's really the best you can do, but any paint's okay, really. But a good flat, dead flat is a good paint to use because it hides the roller marks. The corners, this roller doesn't get in the corners real good, so I'll have to get a small, thick roller to do my edges. You can use a brush up in there. Usually I'll do it with the roller, but I don't want to hit too hard. You have to push real hard in those corners. So I really don't want to do that. I don't want to get too rough with these popcorn ceilings. If you pull the popcorn off, you've just created a disaster. It's not worth it. Don't try to save time. Don't try to cut corners with a popcorn ceiling. You're asking for trouble. Okay, Sure 46 out. Hope this helped out a little bit. And that's pretty much how to paint a popcorn ceiling. Get you a thick roller. And I use the lamb's wool. Of course, I use those for everything. They're expensive, but you know what? You get what you pay for. All right, see you later, folks.